Welcome to the Prophecy Club. We're going to be talking about the global financial system that these guys say is about to be setting up. I'm going to start with Benjamin Fulford, and again, no, he is not a Christian, and so you may be saying, well, why would you be reading from a Christian? Because his information is confirming what we already know from the prophecies. So I like it because actually he's not a Christian, and he lives in Japan, and yet he's coming along and confirming what we prophecy students have been looking for years. So here it is. This is dated November 18, 2019. Headline, Final Showdown with Elders of Zion Looms, by Benjamin Fulford of benjaminfulford.net. It's time to call a spade a spade. Most of the world's problems originate with a group known as the Elders of Zion. This is an undeniable fact, which, by the way, I agree with, and has nothing to do with the Jewish people. That's correct. I wish he would get that clear. In other words, the Elders of Zion are the Khazarian Mafia. These people, long time ago, like 2,500 years ago, decided that they wanted to become Jews, but the Jews wouldn't let them infiltrate. So they just started calling themselves Jews, and they are the people that are, again, causing most of the problems around. Matter of fact, they are the deep state. They are the international bankers. Let's go on, though. Rather, it's a group of inbred families who own most of the world's corporations and have been plotting to murder 90% of humanity and enslave the rest. That's why they have spent $6.4 trillion on war and mass murder, according to recent calculations by the Watson Institute, since they orchestrated the 9/11 terror attack and fascist coup d'etat. Now, let me also pause in here and say, the reason I know a lot of this is not just from my Bible prophecy studies and modern prophets, but you have to remember, I've been doing this 26 years. We've had 160 guest speakers come through, making 330 DVDs. And so God has put a lot of stuff up in my brain, and a lot of things start connecting after you've heard so many different people talk on so many different topics. Well, that's kind of where I am. So what I read to you, I know from other sources, many of them 2 or 3 different sources that are confirmed. The things, and by the way, some of the things from Benjamin Fulford I do not read. I throw it away. Some of them I put on the shelf. But again, that's what we do. The things that line up with prophecy, line up with the things we know of other things that are confirmed, then we accept those. So anyway, if you do want to catch up on that, the best way to do that is by going, this is the best way. Now, yes, you can get DVDs, and I highly recommend you get DVDs because there's going to be a time, probably here pretty shortly, that you won't be able to access the internet unless you have the mark of the beast. So there's a time coming, probably in the next few years, where you're not going to be able to access the internet. So there is a disadvantage in not having the DVDs. However, right now, the best, fastest, and easiest and cheapest way to access the information I just talked to you about, these 160 speakers, 330 DVDs, is by going to watchprophecyclub.com. Over 300 DVDs are up there. 300 DVDs for $20 a month or $200 a year. You can't beat it with a stick. The only thing is you can't watch it too much because you'll start getting depressed and pulling your hair out. So because it's so much bad information up there, but it's all information from all of these speakers over the last 25 years. So again, go check it out. All right, so back to Benjamin Fulford here. He says this was enough money to end poverty, stop environmental destruction, launch humanity into the new universe. Instead, it was spent on a project to create greater Israel from which to rule the survivors of the planned artificial Armageddon. Let us be clear. The problem originates with an inbred group of families that control monotheism. Now, I'm going to say that are not sons of Abraham. They are not true Jews or Israelites. They are not. They call themselves so. They say so, but they're not. Okay? And that's what Revelation says. And they are Jews that say they're Jews, but are not, but they do lie. So, yeah, and it says it twice in Revelation. Let's go on, though. These people are known as the Elders of Zion. They control a system of Babylonian debt slavery through their ownership of most of the world's central banks. That's why their servants, the top 10% of the people, control 93.2% of the world's financial assets, while the bottom 90% of the people are burdened with 72% of the debt. This system is headed for collapse, and we're about to talk about that. This lines up with prophecy. Riots and civil unrest in Algeria, and mentioned several nations there. He says the peasants with pitchforks are at the gates, meaning the old financial system, he says, is about to go away. Well, we've been talking about that for a long time now. Also, as discussed last week, the entire corporate financial system has completely lost touch with reality and no longer functions. The chart below shows you how the stock market and the real economy no longer correlate. Well, of course, being radio, you can't see that, but let's go on. We would like to add that the GDP numbers are wildly exaggerated and do not reflect income disparity, which means the situation is far worse than shown in the chart. Right now, indicators of real economic activity, especially in the United States, the epicenter of the crisis, show that, here it is, a real serious recession has already started. And yet the stock market is reaching record highs. Now, I have a friend that's really high up in financial things. And I've asked him, I said, do you think that there's any kind of a real recession or any kind of a big stock market crash or any kind of big financial problem coming anytime soon? No. I didn't even finish the sentence. He said, no. I also asked him if the Deutsche Bank failed because there was some question about whether it did or whether it didn't. He said, yes. Yes, it's failed. Now, I've never caught this guy in a lie. He's been accurate on everything. I also asked Lindsey Williams. I said, do you think that we're heading to a stock market crash? He says, no, Stan. You remember that, and by the way, this is not a financial program, and I'm not giving you financial advice, okay? This is a prophecy program. We're talking about the future. We're not talking about how to invest money here. But he said, no, remember, the elite told me that as long as Trump is in, they cannot let the finances crash because they know he will not bail them out. And so as long as Trump is in, everything is going to be good and heading upward. But the moment he's not in, run for the hills. Back to Benjamin Fulford. The cabal's Federal Reserve Board is pumping unprecedented sums of money into the system to try to prevent the meltdown. It now looks like something called a collateralized loan obligations will be ground zero for the collapse. These are bundles of junk loans which work according to the same logic that caused the Lehman Brothers collapse. That is to say, the financial wizards somehow think that if you take lots of small bits of garbage and put them together in a big garbage bag, they stop being garbage. In other words, their system, the old system, is about to collapse. There's about to be a new system. So those people that are in the old system, not going to have a happy day. The people in the new system, going to have a happy day. That's what he's saying. This impending implosion and revolution is probably the reason the Black Sun worshippers at the P2, and I still don't know what the P2 is. So if you got some scoop on that, send it to me, email it to me at askstan@prophecyclub.com. ASKSTAN@prophecyclub.com. Prophecy has a C in it. Anyway, as things stand now, inflation and deflation are caused by the BIS regime's outdated methods. According to the European royal source, the 18th floor dinners at the BIS, that's the privately owned central bank of privately owned central banks. The 18th floor dinners at the BIS, where no minutes or records are taken, are where the world's central bankers decide on the way things will really be. Replacing this with a quantum-based system that will cut out these banker middlemen is what they're trying to do. But, in other words, these central evil international bankers are trying to stop it. The problem is that the governments are too far down the food chain, just don't have enough power to stop it. But now let's talk about this. See, this is where he misses part of the information that you and I have. This is what's really going on. The reason we see Nancy Pelosi and Adam Schiff and all the Democrats, all the left, coming after Trump so hard is because they know, look, if you can listen to the private phone conversation between President of the United States and some other president, like they did with Ukraine, then you know the plans. Okay, the plan is they know that these international bankers are about to be arrested. Many of them, probably over 100,000 of them. And that's the reason this article is so important. They're scared out of their mind. All of these people I'm reading about here, these names are probably on that roundup list. Now, let's go on. It's got some important stuff here. China has more than 20,000 metric tons of gold. They will use this to back up a new cryptocurrency. Wrong. You remember, I've already read for you. Let me scroll down here. Remember from finalwakeupcall.info. The article headline is QFS Off-World Monetary System. And in there it says the cryptocurrency is not going to be a part of it. So the cryptocurrency, not going to happen. Okay, so he misunderstands this part. They will use this to back a new cryptocurrency. That's not correct. Or use it as part of the new global currency, with both Russia, Iran, India, and Indonesia all also playing a role. Each of these countries also has at least 10 to 15 metric tons of gold that can be used as backing for the new currency. Either scenario will bring down the petrodollar. This is the main reason the Khazarian cabal agent impersonating MBS, that's Mohammed bin Salman, is pushing to get Aramco listed ASAP. They know the game is already over. They're trying to extract as much cash as they can and divide it amongst themselves before it all collapses. This is important. The Pentagon can help make sure the collapse does not lead to chaos and bloodshed by shutting down the strife inciting the corporate media propaganda machine. What did he just say? He just said that CNN, ABC, CBS, NBC, MSNBC, New York Times, much of those people are about to be shut down. Hallelujah. Let's go on. Last week, it was full of fake show featuring computer graphics of arrested politicians such as Adam Schiff and Nancy Pelosi. A reporter with a Washington, D.C. press card tells us she was unable to get any response to requests to attend the so-called public hearings. So just because this Washington, D.C. press card owner person could not get a hold of them, they think that they've already been arrested. Well, again, sometimes Benjamin gets off of... I just don't see it. I think that there's a high probability that their names are on the list, but I do not think that Adam Schiff and Nancy Pelosi have been arrested yet. I do not think so. And there's some things here he says I think kind of gets into too much conspiracy theory to be real. Just letting you know. I mean, I try to keep things real and not sensationalist. I know there's a lot of people out there in alternative news that sensationalism is everything. I'm not trying to be sensational. I'm trying to warn you what really is coming, backed up by the prophecies. Back to Benjamin. He says, sending special forces to occupy Warner Media, Walt Disney, Viacom, Rupert Murdoch's News Corporation, that would be Fox News, CBS Corporation, NBC Universal, Google, Facebook is another recommendation. The Trumpers that are going to facilitate these arrests, this is not part of their plan. This is not them saying it. This is Benjamin Fulford suggesting special forces need to go into these news corporations and shut them down. Well, if you watched my video that I had on here a few weeks ago, you saw that I actually included the executive order that gives the president, and this, by the way, was signed by President Obama, but it gives the president, the office of the president, the authority to go in and shut these places down. So I would have to say, yep, that thing, those corrupt news outlets, Fox News not necessarily being one of them, but the corrupt news needs to be shut down. Let's go on. All of these corporations need to be forced to spin off their news operations and put them under the control of genuine fact-finding, truth-seeking journalists. Well, the point is what you need to do is to remove the corruption from them and, yes, still let them be independent so that they can honestly be seeking the truth, not owned by the corporate Khazarian mafia, these people. He goes on to say, finally, they need to round up the members of the families that control the Fortune 500 companies through foundations and other fronts. Most of the 737 people who own the corporations around the world are in Europe. So arrests will need to be made there if this operation is to succeed. So what he is saying is what the plan is. The plan is to arrest a lot of these people that are guilty of either corruption or sex trafficking. So he's saying what we've been saying, but he, again, this is the reason I read from him, he doesn't exactly understand the whole picture because he's not a Christian. He doesn't understand Bible prophecy. Now, let me go on to the QFS off-world monetary system. Now, I've read this entire thing on another broadcast, but I think it's important enough to read again. Headline, QFS off-world monetary system. This comes to us from finalwakeupcall.info. And it says, Introduction of the Quantum Financial System and Global Currency Reset. Quantum financial system advanced without any equivalent. The QFS ends corrupt cabal central banking. The QF system will cover the new global network for the transfer of gold or asset-backed money initiated by Russia, China, to replace the U.S. centrally controlled SWIFT system. In other words, currently we're under a system called the SWIFT system. Well, they're replacing that system. Now, you would be thinking, well, if they're going to remove the United States from being the centrally controlled SWIFT system, isn't that going to be bad? No, I don't think it's going to be, because the SWIFT system is owned and controlled by these international Khazarian mafia deep state type people. So you can't just shut it all down, or the whole world financial system would shut down. So you can't just shut it all down. You have to start up a whole new system. And that's what this article says that they're doing. It goes on to say this new quantum financial system, or QFS, runs on a quantum computer based on an orbiting satellite system and is protected by secret space programs to ensure that it cannot be hacked. The quantum technology was provided by benevolent extraterrestrial galactics. I'll read it again. Listen carefully. Provided by benevolent extraterrestrial galactics. So what is a benevolent extraterrestrial galactic? Well, apparently they think that some of these space brothers and these metal flying objects that can fly through apparently different solar systems as well as even different dimensions, they think that they have come to mankind's rescue. Probably the same thing back in the pyramid days thought. But anyway, so they think that these guys have just brought them this wonderful solution to the world's financial system. Do you think that there are such things as benevolent extraterrestrial galactics? In other words, do you think that aliens, wherever they be from other dimensions or other nations out there, are going to help the world? I don't think so. I don't think that it is God's angels that are doing this, because God's angels don't need metal objects, metal flying machines to fly them through space or time, because God's angels do it instantly and easily, not a problem. But these guys, so if they're not God's angels, what are they? They're demons. So this is demons that is providing a new computer and a new computer system to the world. And the world is going to accept it, so says the prophecy from Maurice Sklar. Maybe I'll get into that tomorrow, which, by the way, is in my new book. Okay, so if it's not good guys giving us this new financial computer and financial system, who is it? Well, it's the devil, okay? So here's what he does. His people, the Khazarian mafia, corrupt the world's financial system. In other words, he creates the problem. The devil creates the problem. Then he comes along with a solution. We're going to give you a new computer that can't be hacked and a new financial system on satellites. That way you can have global financial security. Yeah, right. All from the devil, right? Okay. We're supposed to believe this. Well, what happens is, for a while, so says Prophet Maurice Sklar, it'll be good. But then, of course, it turns bad, and what it turns into is the system so that no man might buy or sell save he had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. What we're seeing being set up is the last days system that will eventually house the mark of the beast. You will not be able to buy or sell unless you're part of this system, this QFS system. I'm telling you, this QFS off-world money system will one day, it's not yet, and we'll all have to be part of it too. And this is part of what I'm putting in my new book. And you're going to have access to it. And the only way you'll have access to it is by your cell phone. Well, again, it's probably going to be going to the printers here in the next week or so. And then we'll get it out in a few weeks and I can talk about it and you can get the book. Let's go on. The purpose of the new financial system is to put an end to cabal corruption. Well, good. That's a good thing. Usury manipulation within the banking world. The key is to implement limitations that will prevent corrupt banksters from gaining significant profits. The QFS is completely independent from the existing centralized system, making all other previous transfer systems unnecessary. Moreover, after the revaluation, all sovereign currencies will be gold or asset-backed ensuring a sustainable value, which means the need for unbacked cryptos outdated, as these are simply digits on computer memory banks. He's correct. Cryptos are not going to be part of it. With the activation of the QFS, the Galactic Alliance will completely destroy the central banking system that has been designed to destroy the world economy and put the world population into perpetual debt slavery. Well, of course, that was set up by the devil 300 years ago. This is the Khazarian Mafia, the international bankers, the deep state, again, whatever you want to call them. 300 years ago, they've been controlling our financial system, and now the devil, since he has corrupted it, he's going to come along and use benevolent extraterrestrial galactics to give us a new computer and a new computer system that can't be hacked. Well, us prophecy students, we see through it. We see where it's going. Let's keep going now. The little-known truth is the QFS has been running parallel to the central banking system for many months and has countered many hacking attempts to steal funds by the cabal. The result being that many bankers have been caught red-handed with illegal money transfers and consequently been arrested. The QFS financial system has no comparison to anything that has ever been introduced to the world before. It has no peer, no equivalent in advanced technology with any other system before it. It is brand new. It reigns supreme in technology it applies. To accomplish the 100% financial security and transparency all currency account holders require. With the QFS money system of the world can be easily changed and encompass gold-backed currencies that completely eliminate the transfer need of the old cabal central banking system. Regrettably, to fully comprehend the advanced QFS structure, there doesn't exist an equivalent technology to serve as an example. Okay, so you got this? The benevolent extraterrestrial galactics, or we call them demons, they're the ones that first started the financial system through their Khazarian Mafia people 300 years ago. They've been controlling our financial system since then. So the extraterrestrials come along and say, look, you've got a corrupt banking system. We'll help you fix it. We will give you a new computer and a computer system that can't be hacked. So this is the fox guarding the henhouse. The Alliance had to intervene with off-world, or more correctly, or other dimensional technologies, to deliver us Earthlings this super technology, advanced monetary system. It is rooted in the quantum computer intelligence. Did you hear that? Quantum computer intelligence that comes without any third dimension creation. No 3D creation comes with an all-telling recognition system that mimics the creation of living entity. What? Did you understand what you just said? They just said that this computer system is a living entity. And he had power to give life to the image of the beast, that the image of the beast would both speak and cause as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. Let me read that again. No 3D creation comes with an all-telling recognition system that mimics the creation of a living entity. It is simply artificial intelligence that comes with something that is able to replace conscious human beings. Does that sound like an image to the beast? Does to me. So let me summarize what it's saying so far. It's saying that the old banking system that has existed in the world for over 300 years, controlled by the Khazarian Mafia, these evil international bankers, which many of them are known now as the deep state, controlling our banking system for over 300 years, that have corrupted it, and they've got the whole world into debt. I mean, every nation in the world is in debt up to their eyeballs, and most of the people around the world are in debt up to their eyeballs. Who are they in debt to? They're in debt to the international banking cabal. That through a system, which I won't go into, of inflation and deflation through the years, they have stolen the whole world's financial system. Can you imagine stealing all the wealth of the world? That's what they've done. And so what they're doing is setting up a new financial system to go around them. Now, I believe this is many of the people doing this are actually either good guys or at least believe that they're doing a good thing. I don't think that they intend that this new financial system is going to turn into a mark of the beast system. I don't think they believe that, or at least intend it. But what's going to happen, we know through prophecy, it's going to turn corrupt. maybe I'll get into that tomorrow. I don't think I have time today. All of this is going to be in my new book, which I'm not promoting right now, but we will talk about it here in the next few weeks, probably. A couple of years ago, I began to memorize Revelation. Frankly, I didn't even think I'd be able to really memorize the whole thing. I didn't even start at verse 1. I started at verse 8 because the first 7 verses looked too complicated to memorize. But what happened was, as I started memorizing it, I started getting revelations. We're talking about information from the throne of God. Matter of fact, I got 30 revelations and 2 visions and 1 audible voice. The audible voice, I'll go ahead and tell you what that said. The 7 seals play over 7 years. The 7 trumpets play over 7 months. The 7 vials play over 7 days. Unquote. I heard an audible voice tell me that. Now, of course, I had it backed up with Scripture, and I do explain that in the book. But what I was shown is a single word found in Leviticus links through time to the same single word in the book of Revelation. And that single word is first fruits. When you understand that word, all of a sudden the 7 feasts given to Moses are actually a pattern that plays out the last 7 months of the world, starting with first fruits and ending and concluding with tabernacles. Those 7 feasts are a pattern. They portray the way the prophecies of Revelation lay out for the first time. And so far, no one has been able to defeat me on this. I don't think anybody on planet Earth has been given the information in this book. Now, I'm not saying I'm something special. I'm saying it's the last days. I'm saying that God has given this extra information to the world because we are in the last days. Because the tribulation, 7 years, is about to start. The beast is about to be released into the world. And brothers and sisters, you had better start knowing Bible prophecy. I'm called of God to teach Bible prophecy. You read my book, and I don't think you'll have a question about that. And I don't think you know anything that is in my book. I'm not trying to be arrogant. I'm just trying to tell you, you get this book and you'll be really, really glad you got it. 1 for 20, 5 for 30, 10 for 55. 1 book for 20, but don't do that. You want to get 5 for 30. That way it gives you 4 books to just give away. Best deal is 10 for 55, and then really kind of a church deal is you get a whole case of them. That's 60 books for a gift of $250. That way, the whole church can just spread them around. You got other books to hand around to other people. 1 for 20, 5 for 30, 10 for 55, 60 for $250. You get it at prophecyclub.com. Prophecyclub.com. The secret door to understand Bible prophecy. 1 for 20, 5 for 30, 10 for 55, case of 60 for a gift of $250. Get the book, read it. Would you like to have Prophecy Club come and speak at your church? Well, this is what Pastors Rosemary and her husband Lloyd said when we went to their church.
It was wonderful. Couldn't ask for anything any better. It was God sent, God blessed, and things happened, and I shall never forget. But I saw the glory of God in people, and people hungry for Jesus and to know the Word. It was eye-openers. They had never even thought of those things before.
If you'd like to have Prophecy Club into your church, please contact us at prophecyclub.com. In that you know the internet is going away one day, it is a good idea to actually have the disc. However, at watchprophecyclub.com, you can have instant access to over 200 titles on a recurring monthly subscription of $20 or yearly for $200 at watchprophecyclub.com. That's $6,000 worth of information at watchprophecyclub.com. That's watchprophecyclub.com. What a deal. The easiest way to listen and watch Prophecy Club YouTube videos is to download our free app from the App Store.